Is it just me or does anyone else really miss the internet in the 90s? Back when it was all super simple, when you used to have to ask Jeeves anytime you had a question about something, when you'd use Netscape Navigator to go visit your Neopets on the information superhighway, back when you'd have to make sure no one else was on the phone just so you could hear the coveted dial-up tone. Oh, please, not again. Why? Hey guys, welcome to another video. If this is your first time here, don't forget to subscribe and like this video so that you don't miss any more of my content. Today, as you've probably already guessed from my hilarious introduction, we're going to be talking about the internet. More specifically, websites and how you can use them to support your students in their learning. Okay, so caveat. The tips I'm going to share with you today are fairly highly customized to my experience as a visual arts teacher. But I have used websites with all kinds of different classes, ranging from English to social studies to technology education. And there's lots of different ways that you can use them that I think will fit in any subject that you teach. I've even had students make their own websites about child rearing techniques, so I'm sure there's a lot of cross-curricular applications for this tech. So first and foremost, let's talk about the differences between a class website and a Google Classroom, which I'm sure you're probably already familiar with. A Google Classroom acts kind of as a repository for the content that you cover with your classes. You can post materials that you share in class, you can assign work to students, and you can grade and give feedback to the work that your students complete. I would say Google Classroom is probably an invaluable tool for teachers in 2022. A website, on the other hand, is really good at helping you deliver that content to your classes in a way that makes sense and you can customize right down to the smallest pixel. Everything from the New York Times to Facebook is a website. You can have personal websites, professional websites, or really anything in between. The reason that websites are so versatile is they really give you a way to deliver content in a way that makes sense to you and to your audience. That's why I think they're a really perfect complement to Google Classroom. Helpfully, Google even makes a website creation tool called Google Sites that's super easy to use and ties directly into your content in Google Drive and Google Classroom. You can even embed YouTube links on a Google site, making it super easy to share lots of different content with your classes. So for today, my goal is to walk you through one of the websites I use with my classes to give you a sense of how it works and how you might be able to customize it to fit your needs. Let's get started. Okay, so this is the main screen for my Visual Arts 9 website. This is just created using one of the Google Sites templates, and I'll walk you through the back end in just a bit, but really it's super easy to set up once you know what you're doing. The first thing you're going to see when you go to this page is the big upcoming dates area. This is just some important calendar information that lets students quickly see anything important. Usually I'll have this updated with assignment due dates, but as we're on March break right now, nothing is due. You can see that I've put my monthly sketchbook checks where I take in their sketchbook works and formally grade them. These are a really important part of the course, so I wanted to make sure they were front and center when students go to the site. If I scroll down, you'll see my course overview. This is taken right from the communication plan that was sent home at the beginning of the course. And under resources, you'll see links to the course outline and online drawing prompt generator for if they're working on their sketchbooks and need something to draw. At the very bottom, you'll see this imposing footer warning students that they need to be logged in to view most of the materials. GNESPES is our provincial education Google service, basically their school account, and a lot of the content here is directly linked to my Google Drive, which I've locked down to only be viewable within our organization. So if they're not logged in, they'll get an error that says they can't view the content. If we look back at the top of the page at my navigation bar, you'll see that I've got a number of folders listed here. My Art 9 class is broken into 3 chunks: the Elements of Art and Principles of Design, Painting, and Sketchbook. You could really organize these however you'd like, but I do strongly recommend using folders so things don't seem really cluttered. Your links could include unit names, or when we first did online learning, I had folders for each week that we were online. If I hover over the name of the folder with my cursor, like I'm doing now, the contents pop out, allowing me to select the relevant activity. My classes are all project-based, so it makes sense for me to create different pages for different assignments. But again, you can really organize this however you want. You may have a folder called Homework and a subpage that could be called Problems 1 to 6, or whatever you want to do. I'm going to click into the first project here, Elements and Principles Booklets. So with my grade 9 art students, knowing that they don't have a strong background in art, I start with the basics. So we go through in class the different elements of art and principles of design and how they're used. Their project, as you can see by the Your Task section, is to create booklets that illustrate examples of the elements and principles. I think this page perfectly illustrates why you might want to complement your Google Classroom with a site. Sure, I could attach all of the accompanying information in the assignment post in the classroom, but having it here on the website makes it so much easier to navigate and guide students through the project. So if I scroll down, it reads almost like an interactive handout for the assignment. walking students through step by step. We can see the example I've created, which is just an embedded Google Doc, to help students get the idea and have a reference to look at when creating their own rough drafts. Then I can scroll down some more to get more information. You can see here that I have a YouTube video embedded as well. For this project, students will have to fold booklets out of a standard piece of paper. We do this together in class, but if students need to refer back to it after group instruction, or if they missed the instruction in class, this is there to take them through the required steps. Then, at the bottom of the page, I have embedded images of student examples. I take tons of pictures of student artwork, and I find they do a much better job on an activity when they can see what other students have done before them. So instead of them seeing a black and white, poorly photocopied example on their handout, they can really get the full effect here on the website. It really is so much easier once you get it set up. So let me jump into the site editor to show you what this looks like on the back end. I can modify my site by clicking on the pencil button in the bottom right hand corner. Then I can change pretty much whatever I want. So this is the site editor view. And as you can see, I can click and drag to change anything I want. So let's look at this video. If I want this video to appear on the left instead of the right, all I have to do is click and drag it over. Or let's say I wanted to add another text box. All I have to do is click the text box field from the sidebar and it inserts into my page. Like this. From there I can choose which style of text I want, change the font size, make it a link, basically whatever I want. So I'll write the word test here. And if I highlight it, I can change the style to be a header. If I don't want this font, I can change the font to my other favorite, Open Sans. I can make it bold, make it really big or really small, make it italicized, underline it, change the text color if I want it to be blue. Anything I want. If I want to move it around, I just grab it by the handle on the left-hand side and I can put it anywhere on the page. If I want to draw attention to it, like I have with the student example section, I can just click on the palette that appears when hovering over the section. And then I can change the background accent to a different color depending on my theme, or even upload an image to use as the background. So I've made it yellow here. Maybe I don't like that. Maybe I want to make it gray. These colors will change based on the theme that you use as well. Or if I want an image, let's select an image. Well, I like this one of the beach. As you can see, it added the image of the beach in my background. I don't really like the way that looks with this color of text. So let's change the text color. Maybe a nice gray. That's still hard to see. Perhaps black was best. There we go. Once I'm satisfied with my changes, I need to publish them in order to make them appear live on my site. This is very important because if I don't publish my changes, my students won't be able to see them. When I click publish in the upper right hand corner, I'm presented with a before and after view. This view shows me any of the changes I've made to my site. Because I've only modified the one page, that's all that appears in the left-hand sidebar. The draft example shows me the changes I've made to my page, while the currently published shows me what my site looks like right now. If I'm satisfied with my changes, all I have to do is click publish, and they'll go live for anyone to see. Pretty cool, right? Let's do that now. So now I'm back in the editor and can make any other changes that I want. There's just one more thing I want to show you in the editor before we move on, and that's how you see your published site. There are a couple of ways to do this. First is the site preview button. If I click on this icon, which is a phone overlaid on a laptop, right here, it will show me a live preview of my website. In the bottom right-hand corner, I can see how my site displays on different devices. So if I'm on a desktop or a laptop, that's the default view, but I know my students will mostly access this site on their phones. So if I click on the phone icon, it shrinks my page down so I can see exactly what someone would see accessing the site on their phone. So if I scroll down, I can see everything that shows up, including our new bit of text. Then, if I exit out of this view by clicking on the X icon, I'll get right back into the site editor. So I'm happy with my site and I want to share it with my students. How the heck do I do that? Well, as with any Google product, you're going to want to make sure your permissions are set up properly. Click on the sharing icon, which is a person next to a plus button, to bring up your sharing settings. As you can see, under links, I receive a message that says links vary. Let's hit change to see what that means. So you can see right now I have two kinds of permissions: who can edit my website and who can view my website. Right now, my site is set up so that only I can make changes to it, but anyone on the internet can see the published site. If I click into public, I can make changes to restrict the website to only people I give the link to, only people in my organization so you'd have to sign in to see the site, or leave it at public. I like to have the website set as public because it means that when I'm emailing parents about missing assignments, I can include a direct link to the instructions so they don't have to try and hunt down handouts. I'm going to leave the link as public, then I'm going to hit done. From there, I'm going to navigate up to the link icon in the menu, which will give me the published site link. From there, I can copy the link and paste it wherever I want, like my Google Classroom. It's important to remember that this is the link for the specific page of my website. So it's perfect if I'm attaching it to a specific assignment, but it's not super helpful if I'm looking to give students the main link to my website. For that, I have to go back to my home page. I can do that by clicking on the Pages tab in the sidebar and then clicking on Home. This takes me back to the main page of my website. Then if I click that link icon again, it'll give me the main URL for my website. Obviously, this URL is not super memorable, so I'll often take this link and use a URL shortener like bit.ly or tiny.cc to create something that my students might remember. But if I'm just looking to paste this into a Google Classroom, this will work perfectly. So that's basically it, a deep dive into how I use Google Sites with my students. Hopefully some of the tips I've talked about here today will help you in your own journey using Google Sites. If you found this valuable, please make sure to like this video and subscribe so that you don't miss any more of my updates. I try to upload every Wednesday. I'd also like to hear in the comments any other ideas you may have for using Google Sites with your students. If you've seen something here that might be helpful to the other teachers in your life, please pass this video along as well. So that's basically it for me. See you next time.